Saludos everybody, welcome back to Decentshirt, where we play cards while we wear decent shirts. And for today's video, we're kicking it off with Firestorm content before the set is released. What do I mean? Well, today I have Firestorm's very own Majursa Hestia deck versus Majesea's Poseidon's deck. Who will win? Let's find out. Let's get on to the video. Well, before we begin, I do want to give a small caveat. These cards are not legit. Many of these cards are proxied because I do not own any Firestorm product. You will notice that. But I hope that you still enjoy the match. I thought a lot into these decks. I really wanted to make Majesea and Majursa work. And now we're going to see the first match that we got to do with these two decks, because Majesea has been getting a lot of bad reputation, saying, oh, it's going to be a problem, it's going to be banned like Fair Guys and some other things. I don't think that's going to be necessarily the case, but it's worth trying out. However, we do have Majursa, not Majesea, Majursa, which is also looking to be a really powerhouse card in this new format of Firestorm. Being able to push for a lot of damage by being able to destroy a lot of the opponent's cards. It's obviously very powerful. The question is it going to be consistent enough and powerful enough to overwhelm your opponent? Only one way to find out. So let's head on to the match. Alright, and here we're going to be shuffling and see who goes first. And from the get, it looks like it's going to be the Majesea player that goes to go first. Here for this video, I have my awesome friend Red Sun helping me out. He was very interested in the Majesea list, and I helped him come up with a strategy where the Majesea wouldn't be the only option that you had. It was sort of like a water good stuff that could lend itself and protect itself while you got access to all the combo cards. Because Majesea, at the end of the day, is a very highly combo card deck, and you're going to need multiple cards for the deck to really kick off. And Majesea by himself doesn't seem like it's going to be all that oppressive. It will stops a lot of strategies for it. It allows you to basically turn every spirit on all of your opponent's Elestrals into water spirits as long as your Poseidon is in play and it is in attack position. That is a very powerful floodgate effect. One of the strongest floodgates we have in the game, or that we will have in the game once it is released. However, the 6 attack is honestly very underwhelming, and a lot of people are like high on it, some people are like really down on it. We're gonna see how it goes. As you can see here, I did choose to go for a mulligan in this game. I saw my hand and I wasn't really feeling it. I had a lot of counter runes, but not enough to really make the deck pop off. And from this second hand, I don't think I saw anything that I really loved that much. We did see an Ursmog, so hopefully we will be able to draw a Ursier or Ursmog or another Ursier card, so that way we can make the most out of it. But we see our opponent just starts with a classic Sluggle, the newest Sluggle, and we also see it set 2 cards. However, we in our first turn are not feeling it all that much because we do decide to just expend to draw and set 2 cards. Since our opponent did start very slow, I think we can also have the opportunity of starting slow. It doesn't seem like he has Poseidon in hand, and he's going to then choose to expend to draw. It's interesting that he went for the Sluggle even though he didn't have the Poseidon. More often than not, people would probably hold on to the Sluggle until they have the combo, but I guess he just wanted a body on board, and it seems like he's going to be able to defend it. We do see that with that expended to draw, we do see a Galaxy, so that's really good for the next turn. Going to turn that Sluggle into a 3 attack. Now, in our case, we did draw a Lavalith, but we're like looking, we are not super sure of what exactly we want to go with. It seems like I'm considering to go for Zeus Cryoblast. Now, this isn't like the greatest play, if I'm being honest. Honestly, you don't really want to use your Zeuses to stop a Sluggle, but at the same time, I don't want to give my opponent a chance to draw into the Poseidon and just lock me right there. So I do choose to go for the Cryoblast and Disenchant from Zeus to then turn the defense to 0 and ultimately destroy that Sluggle. Now, we also are going to see that I was actually able to draw into the URSA then. So that probably means that I'm going to be casting, as you can see there, the URSA then properly enchanted. And if you don't know what it does, basically when you cast any URSA Celestial to the field, you're able to enchant the URSA then with an additional spirit. And if you have 4 spirits under it, you can choose to disenchant all 4, and then you can special cast any URSA from your deck. This is basically the combo enabler that allows you to get your Majursa out from the deck. So we do see that we casted the Earthsmog. Our opponent is going to go ahead and cast PTA on our Earthsmog, which is really interesting. Very interestingly enough, the Stadium does allow us to get that +1 attack, which allows us to actually hit for damage, because otherwise that PTA would have drowned our attack to 0. But because of the URSA then, we do at least get to hit for 1 damage. And he does use his PTA, so we are down a couple of spirits, as you can see. But I'm still feeling at a really good spot, because the moment that we see another URSA, that is probably going to mean that our URSA then is going to be able to cast our Majursa. And from what it seems in the first couple of turns, our opponent didn't have like a stellar start to the game. So we could make good use of those slow turns that our opponent is starting with. So Red Sun is casting Galaxy, and we're thinking, okay, should I cast something? I did have cards in my set, but I decided, you know what? I think I'm just gonna take the damage. I don't think that it's gonna do too much damage to me, and maybe I can even catch him off guard. We do see that I cast the Ursier, which is going to then proc our Stadium. Ursier, when it destroys an opponent by battle, it allows you to then special cast another Ursier. And here I think we saw a mistake on our opponent's end, because he decides to use a PTA on our Ursier and not wait for the Majursa. Which means that our Majursa is going to be scot-free, especially because now we're going to be able to cast Majursa and try to pop 2 cards due to having both Ursier and Majursa in play. However, if you were paying attention, you probably noticed that he does have a Gorgon set, which is going to stop our Majursa from getting its pop effect. Still, it is an 8 attack body on board, which is very respectable. And it's going to be somewhat hard for our opponent to be able to out the Majursa. So, as you can see here, we're going to be casting it, and it's going to be met with a Gorgon's Gaze by our opponent, which means that we're not going to be able to do much. Our Ursier is not going to be able to beat over the Galaxy, and it's probably going to be destroyed this turn, as well as our Majursa is unable to attack due to the Gorgon's Gaze. So, this, while it does seem like he stopped my play, and yes, he did, it also doesn't feel half bad. We did make the opponent waste both of his back row. His Galaxy is there, but there's not much it can actually do. So, really, at the end of the day, our opponent is at the back burner, because he's going to have to try to find a way to be able to out the Majursa. Let's see if he is able to do that. Early, we see that he's thinking. He does have an Altar and double Ambrosia in hand, so maybe he can try to expend to draw and see if he draws into a Poseidon that maybe can allow to enable the Altar of Stars. We do see him looking at his discard, looking at his spirit deck, and it does seem like he is going to... He's still thinking. At this point in my head, I'm thinking I'm pretty solid. I do have a... I'm technically in a top deck situation, but at the same time not really, because I do have a Majursa in play. We do see him go for the double Ambrosia, so he's going to heal a lot of spirits this turn. Actually 6 spirits in total. which is not bad at all. It is curious though, did he actually have to go for both Ambrosias? Well, that remains to be seen. I don't know if you can hear the music of the cars going in the background, but if you do, apologies there. Alright, so again, we are seeing that our opponent is reading our Majursa. He's making sure there's nothing funny business. But we do have 3 back row, and he does have to respect it, because currently there is not much that his Galaxy can do. So we're going to see that Galaxy's deciding, does he want it in attack or defense? He ultimately decides to keep it in attack position because he does not want to fall to something like an Earthseer, which would then make a disastrous board for my opponent, because now he would not only have to get rid of a Majursa but also 2 other bears. And as you can see, we do go and swing over the Majesea, and our opponent does choose to lose 2 spirits. And right now our opponent is just trying to see if he can draw an Earthquake. See something, or resting on your laurels could also help in this situation. Let's see. We do see him draw into a Globby. That is not what our opponent wanted. And here lies some of the, inconsistencies or weaknesses of this deck, which is the fact that you do draw a lot of Ascensions, or you do play a lot of Ascensions. And that's why I thought that the best way to go about this deck was having it with 2 modes, because if you rely completely on the Majesea, the moment that you don't cast out your Majesea or that it is outed, then you really don't have much for your opponent to really steamroll you. So for that reason, we do see that he is currently bricking, unfortunately so. We did draw into a Jolten, which is going to allow us to get an Ursa Den to our hand, which is great. Right, we can threaten to get more Ursas on the board, and we do play a second Majursa champion of Hestia in this deck because it is just so easy to get out. So for that reason, we're definitely going to have it. And we do have still our Levelist. We're just going to swing for 4. Our opponent is going to take some nasty damage from this attack. And unfortunately, nothing has enabled the Altar of Stars just yet, which is good news for me, but horrible news for our opponent. We do see him lose the Lycoris, which means that his Monsoon of Eurus is out of commission this time, and also his Hurricane. So that's pretty good on my end. We do see a Poseidon finally, but no monsters or other cards that we can choose to really pass those spirits around with the Altar of Stars. So right now, our opponent is in a real big pickle. And I don't think he's going to be able to get out of it. It's bad enough that you have to deal with a Majursa, but in my case, I'm just getting a lot of resources. I'm just setting up for the next time, and I haven't even drawn a Hibernation, right? We do see an Ursicle, so speaking of Hibernation, at this point, Ursicle is going to allow me to search for any Ursa card, including the Ursa Den, or in this case, Hibernation. And since I'm so up ahead and our opponent has really not drawn into anything, I'm going to choose to just destroy one of my set runes, probably the PTA, and just going to try to amass as much advantage as I can with my with Hibernation. So, as you can see, I'm choosing, okay, which card do I want to leave? Okay, I'm going to lose the PTA, and I'm going to choose to use the Hibernation to then heal 2. As you can see, I'm only left with 1 spirit before I heal with the Hibernation, so I was really down on spirits. And you're going to see me able to draw into 2 fire spirits and add them back to the hand, and also draw into an Ambrosia, because this card is absolutely nuts. Not only do you heal, but you also get to draw for just 1 spirit. That is insane. So we are seeing that I'm going to choose to use the Ambrosia, and I'm going to heal yet 3 more spirits, which again, considering how my spirit deck was looking a couple of turns ago, this is an extreme advantage that not only am I capitalizing on the board, but also being able to really beat him in the spirit department. And as we can see here, I'm debating, and I'm going to choose to attack with all 3 to do a maximum of 5 damage to my opponent. And at this point, there's not really much your opponent can do. He is really thinking, okay, what are my options? He did draw a Malstation. He finally draw into a Elestral. But the question is it too late? And the answer is probably going to be yes. Especially because that is his last spirit. But it seems like he wants to take something down. He seems that he wants to take down the URSA because he's putting it in attack position with no other spirits in board. And I'm going to allow him to do that and go all down on his own terms, which is going to basically be the end of the game as I'm able to swing for 3 damage with nothing to protect him. Well, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the match. Majesea wasn't able to really ramp up into its boss card in this match, but maybe in the second round we will see it. You're going to have to watch the next video to find out. However, we cannot overstate how powerful Majursa's effect really ended up being. Even though we weren't able to do the hibernation combo, once it came out, it was able to basically force your opponent to use their entire back row and still not be able to out it, which meant that Majursa kept doing damage after damage after damage, which was a lot of pressure even for a deck that heals a lot, like the Majesea deck. So, I want to hear your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe and look for more content like this. So, having said that, that will be all from me, Decentshirt, signing out.